Michael, have you heard about the new Lady Joker movie?
Woke Hollywood already with a female reboot.
Well, the thing is, Michael, we've seen Birds of Prey, haven't we? Well,
Yes.
we haven't seen it, but we know about it. It exists. But I think people really need to appreciate this next movie that Disney have got coming out, Cruella. You haven't seen the trailer, have you?
No, I've not. I've known of it. I've seen of it, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, you're going to watch it right now, and we're going to see whether you think it's also a Lady Joker movie. So press play on that thing.
All right, okay.
And yeah. Okay, Michael, you've seen the trailer. What do you think?
I mean, you joked, and I thought you were, there was a bit of exaggeration to your joking, but I honestly could not have predicted it would be that bad. I thought it would just be something a bit subtle, but it genuinely was literally like it was like the Joker trailer. It was just the Joker trailer. And I am from Disney, like a Disney live action. That was incredible.
I mean, people complained about the Joker, but that movie had such an impact. So that's just all the movies we're going to get from now on. Just whatever favourite character, and they're going to be Joker-fied. And I, for one, can't wait.
Yeah, it looks like the real threat wasn't incels, it was studio executives. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke, and this week we are celebrating the 25-year anniversary of the Adam Sandler comedy classic Happy Gilmore. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Happy Gilmore?
Certainly, Michael. So yes, Happy Gilmore is a 1996 American sports comedy film directed by Dennis Dugan and produced by Robert Simmons. It stars Adam Sandler. Who would have known? Also written by him. Stars Christopher McDonald, Julie Bowen, and Carl Weathers as well. It was released on February the 16th, 1996. So again, we're very close to the 25-year anniversary, Michael. We're just past it. And I don't know if you saw this, because I know I don't know what you do with your time, but you're not on Twitter as much as me. I saw this viral clip of, well, it had to be viral because it was posted by Adam Sandler of him recreating his Happy Gilmore swing 25 years on. You probably didn't see that, did you?
No, I didn't. But I mean, good to see Adam Sandler reliving the glory days.
Yeah, but it feels nice to to be as close to the anniversary as possible. That you get to see stuff like that. It's like, yeah, we're reviewing that movie next, and then Shooter McGavin also hit back as well. That was nice to see. February the 16th, 1996, Michael, 25 years ago. Isn't it funny that Silence of the Lambs and Happy Gilmore were literally released 2 days apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that funny. Anyway, can you tell me what the budget was for Happy Gilmore?
Well, I'm guessing this was back before the days of...
No, sorry, it wasn't 2 days. I mean, obviously...
Yeah, I was a bit confused by that, yeah. Because...
Yeah, my bad.
But I mean, I'm guessing this was before Adam Sandler films got the insane budgets that are clearly just to, pay all of his friends loads of money. So I would think this was pretty much just a cheapish comedy. Maybe 10 million?
You know what? Yeah, you're right, Michael. A little bit more. A little bit. It was 12 million.
Okay.
That was the budget for Happy Gilmore. And now, can you tell me what the box office was?
Well, I would think, the whole reason Adam Sandler was able to pay people lots of money is because he made lots of money. I don't want to go mental with the box office, although he did say one day I'll get it over, so maybe I'll get it over this time. 250... No. Let's just do what I did last time. $225 million. It's really below, isn't it? I undershot it again. I undershot it by a lot. It made 500 million.
Oh my god. 250 million. Well, sorry, what did you say?
I said 225. I changed it.
225 million for Happy Gilmore. No, this is I'm sure you've heard it referred to before as a cult classic. And when movies are referred to as cult classics, it often means that they didn't perform well at the box office. And this did, it did well off a $12 million budget, but it wasn't $225 million.
Well, in a way, I'm kind of just happy I overshot it for once.
I mean, you overshot it so much, you practically undershot it. You know what I mean? Yes. The actual box office was $41 million. Wow. Yeah, not even $50 million. $41 million.
That's
Yeah,
nothing.
maybe that's your worst guess ever. I don't know. It seems like every few weeks we have a contender.
Oh yeah, I have to say I'm shocked because obviously Adam Sandler's kind of considered a real kind of 90s comedy great, and you look at obviously Jim Carrey, his films back in the 90s were pulling in big digits. I actually don't know how much his films are pulling in, but I kind of just assumed like these Michael Myers, Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, these people, even Will Ferrell, reliably got like into the 100 millions. That was kind of my thoughts, but maybe I'm an idiot.
Yeah, that's probably it. What did Ferrell didn't start in the 90s though?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. I mean, I was generalizing towards the end, really, kind of just talking about good comedy greats in general.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, for example, you take Anchorman or Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. I doubt they ever grossed 220 million.
Yeah, admittedly, that was
comedy movies don't generally gross that much. That's what I've seen.
But how much did Home Alone gross? Remind me.
Oh, Home Alone was a lot.
Yeah,
but Home Alone's a kids' movie, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of.
Whereas this is a mature movie.
Yeah, very mature, of course. So, Michael, enough to talk about the box office of Happy Gilmore. Did you like this movie?
Well, this is maybe a bit surprising in that the last golf film we did was, of course, what was it? What was it called again?
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, that was it. Yeah. I kept having Full House in my head, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And Caddyshack, and obviously the thing with that is it wasn't very funny, and we didn't like it. This film, I think, also isn't very funny, but I did quite like it. I thought there was a lot there apart from the humor that made it enjoyable. So I guess, yeah, I did like it, even though I didn't really find it funny. So there's a shock.
Yeah, I don't think I would say it wasn't funny, but it was likable. And yeah, of course we'll get deeper into it as we always do, but I think overall, we'll compare it to Caddyshack later, I think, as well. But overall, I would say, yeah, I did like this movie. I did like it. I'd watch it again for sure. Why not? It's only like an hour and 25 minutes, so why the hell not? But anyway, Michael, Happy Gilmore, how many nitpicks do you have?
I got two nitpicks.
Well, I've got 4. So, sorry, I've got 5. So you go first.
Yeah, I get to go first. All right. First one, I find it weird how his mum has not paid taxes because she has no money. Obviously, like, taxes usually are famously proportional to the amount of money you have, and I just think it would make way more sense if it was like she had a loan or something. Yeah, I know, I was thinking that, and like I am aware that you can have big taxes even when you don't have much money, but I would just think to have like no money and still paying tax, I don't know, it seems like the kind of thing you don't usually get. But yeah, I do admit it's possible. I just thought, like, why not just have her be in debt, because debtors don't care. And second one, this is for me a bigger one. It is so obvious that Chubbs isn't missing a hand in real life. Like,
that's what makes it so funny.
I know, yeah. Like, I'm not. I guess that's it. Yeah. Is it? See, the thing is, it's the film doesn't do that much of that type of humor elsewhere. Like, it's kind of obviously meta humor of the effects being obviously bad. So I wasn't sure. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I found it funny. I guess it didn't come across to me as intentional because I was like, the film doesn't really have much kind of meta poor production humor anywhere else. But yeah. So seeing as I didn't think it was intentional. But I did find it funny. I will say that I'm counting it as a nitpick.
So you find it funny, but you're still going to nitpick it. Great. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've got 5. So my first nitpick. So this is just a coincidence thing. All the events in the movie conspire just at once for Happy to get him into golf. He loses out on the hockey trials. He loses his girlfriend. Doesn't really affect his motivation, but it counts, I guess. His grandma's house gets taken over by the damn IRS. Come in, they steal it just for her not paying taxes. Honestly, what is going on with this big government bullshit? And then, and then he plays some golf at the club, and all this stuff happens within like 2 days. And so yeah, I get it. It's just a nitpick, but that's how things get going in movies often. Next nitpick. So it's when there's a montage of Happy doing good in his first round of golf to the sound of jump around, jump around. Jump up, get down. You don't want to do that, Michael? You don't want to join me in singing that?
I must admit, I always forget that film is by House of Pain rather than Cypress Hill.
Okay, good stuff. But basically, Happy hits the ball into the lake. And obviously, that's not good. He goes in to retrieve it and all the crowd cheer as he picks it up from the bottom of the lake. But the next shot in the montage shows him moving up the leaderboard. Now, of course, you shoot into the water. That's not good. So they should have had another shot of him doing well and then moving up the leaderboard, because it makes no sense. He shoots the ball in the water, he moves up the leaderboard. Come on, just just do a bit better on that montage there. Next nitpick is the product placement. My God, there is a lot of this, and you don't realize it until you watch it again. I think the first time I watched it, I don't think I realized it, and the second time it's like, oh my God, like there's so much Subway advertise. Of course, he does a freaking commercial for Subway. Like we all know about Dunkaccino, but the signs were there right from the beginning of Sandler's career. And you know when he's on the fucking final, was it the final round? He's literally got a Subway shirt underneath his underneath his main shirt. Like he's literally got he's advertising Subway. And here's the thing: you definitely would not be allowed to do that in the pro in the championship or whatever it's called. I guess it's a stand-in for the Masters. You're not allowed to do that in the Masters, like have the advertisement of a company, and like he can do it, and it's not for any reason related to the plot. It's just that Subway literally paid him, and they were like, right, well, this is the most famous scene at the end of the movie. Let's have him wear a Subway shirt. Just unbelievable, really. And yeah, Roger Ebert also commented on that, by the way, in his review of it. So yeah, there's that. Now, next nitpick. As you know, Michael, golf tournaments take place over the course of 4 days normally. And on the Tour Championship, they get it right. It does take place over 4 days. But I think most of the other tournaments, it only takes place over like 1 day. I'm pretty sure. And that's just not accurate, is it? It's 4 days. I was so surprised when he won the championship, at his local club, and it's like, oh, it's a 1 day event, really? Okay. And the actual pro event he enters seems like it's also 1 day as well. So yeah, I don't know. Eventually they get it right, but yeah, I don't know why they did that. Maybe it's just to save time. And my next nitpick and final one, and this is quite an important one, Michael. Have you considered this? Shooter McGavin, he buys Happy Gilmore's grandma's house, doesn't he? Because he wants to do it to spite Gilmore. But why does he know about her house being taken away from her? How does he know about that? Because you think about it, he only tells his girlfriend, his publicist girlfriend, and she doesn't like Shooter McGavin. She won't tell him, and she doesn't tell him. How does Shooter McGavin know about that, Michael? How does Shooter McGavin know enough to buy Happy Gilmore's house? You got an explanation, Michael?
Well, I mean,
I'd love to hear it.
Apart from anything else, I mean, maybe I'm getting my chronology wrong, but I thought he did tell the organizer at one point when. I can't remember when, but I swear I do. I feel like I do remember him telling the organizer at one point, but it might have been after Shooter McGavin bought it. Like I said, I don't remember the chronology. So let's just ignore that because I'll assume.
Oh, wait. So sorry, am I being stupid? Does Happy Gilmore say that to his? Oh, he does. Yes, Sorry, my bad. You can leave this in because I'm being stupid. Happy Gilmore says that to Shooter McGavin when they're having a conversation with the head of the tour when they're in his office.
Okay, yeah.
He says, I can't afford to miss. I can't afford to be suspended. Otherwise, they're going to take my grandma's house. And Shooter McGavin is sitting right next to him. Now, the real nitpick there is why is Shooter McGavin in that meeting? He's got no reason to be in that meeting. He's just in there because he has to be in there to learn that piece of information. But yeah. He shouldn't be in that meeting.
What I think is really funny there is that you clearly were wrong enough to have that as a nitpick. And I, on the other hand, was skeptical. I was like, well, I feel like he does mention it. And the funny thing is, you actually had better recall of that scene than I did. So apparently you somehow were able to perfectly remember that scene the minute that I kind of hinted at it. And yeah, there we go. You still... Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I rarely get stuff wrong. And when I do, I immediately correct myself like I just did.
Yes.
But anyway, so Happy Gilmore, the plot of this movie. It stars Adam Sandler as the title character, of course, an unsuccessful ice hockey player who discovers a newfound talent for golf. So yeah, there you go. He's really awful at ice hockey, but he loves ice hockey. He's always wanted to be an ice hockey player, but then he finds out he's really good at golf because he can hit the ball. I mean, you think about how well he can hit the puck. Well, that's the thing. He's not accurate with how he can hit the puck. That's why he's not, a professional ice hockey player. But he can hit it really hard. So I don't know how that translates into golf. Like, of course, with golf, you need to be incredibly accurate as well.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, that could be a nitpick, but I guess, that's something we have to mention. He's incredibly accurate with his golf swing. Maybe it's just because he has to hit it high. That's the thing. He can't keep it on the ground in ice hockey. I don't know. I've never played ice hockey, but yeah, seems like a bit of an issue. But yeah, have you ever seen ice hockey, Michael?
No, but I've been ice skating once.
What, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, actually, I thought I was going to be really bad at it, but I think because I was so scared of falling over, I didn't do it because I was cautious of not doing that. So I feel like that was a small personal victory.
Well, that's great. Here's the thing: ice hockey is shit because this is this may be for someone who hasn't watched a lot of it. You can't see the puck on TV.
Oh, I can imagine that.
Yeah, it's so small, and even though it's black and the ice is of course white, you can't see it, and it's a real issue. I've tried to watch highlights of it, and I'm like, maybe if you've watched enough, you can spot where the puck is, but I cannot. From watching it, on my laptop or on my phone, I could not tell you where the puck was. I'd just be guessing. So yeah, that's why ice hockey is a bad sport. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. Yeah, and it's good that Happy ditches ice hockey. It's good and goes to golf.
Yeah, then you wouldn't be able to see anything that was happening.
Yeah, exactly. But there's the thing in golf as well. They you can't really see the ball once someone's hit it from the tee.
Yeah.
But at least then they have cameras which zoom in on it and while it's in the sky, and you have no idea where it is. Actually, no. You know what? They've added some graphics in golf recently where once the ball is hit, like the graphics like can track like where the ball's going.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too.
Yeah.
They got like a little circle around it, like those little red circles you get in clickbait thumbnails.
Yeah, and there's like a green or yellow like line that follows the golf ball as it goes from the tee all the way onto the fairway or the green. So yeah, that's golf. Ice hockey should do something similar. I don't know what they should do, but they should. Anyway, so Happy does not hate golf or think it is stupid, and this is an issue, Michael, because here's the thing. Obviously, he loves ice hockey and he doesn't want to play golf, but he's kind of indifferent to golf.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been great if he did not like golf for some reason or another. And because, think about how does he get into it? Some old clubs from his grandma's house get him to make a bet with, the two removal guys. And by the way, the first guy can't hit it that far, can he? Like, I could probably outdo him from the look of it. I don't know. Have you ever played golf?
I have played golf. I would say that I'm very cautious about completely screwing up the hit, so I like to try not to go for a full-on welly swing and just smash it, because I'm worried that I could embarrass myself. So I kind of am very conservative with my swing, and therefore I'm not guaranteeing I'd be able to hit it further than him, but at least I would hit it well.
Well, I definitely could, because I've got a really nice swing, apparently. That's what I've been told from my uncle, who's a professional golfer. Got a really nice swing. But I never liked it as a kid because it was boring, and that's maybe what should be the case with Happy Gilmore. Like, he played golf for a bit, but it was boring, and I don't know, maybe his mother wanted him to get into golf because it was like better than ice hockey. I don't know. There should be something that makes him not like golf and instead of being indifferent to it, because then it'd just be better if he if he's like, oh no, I don't like golf, and then he becomes great at it. That would be narratively more satisfying, if you will. So do you agree with me on that?
I guess so. I have one kind of thought, a kind of contrary thought. I guess one, I feel like, well, okay, no, I'll just say my main big thing, which is that I feel like there is the aspect of his attitude of cantankerousness is obviously very contrary to the style of golf. And therefore, I think you could make an argument. I mean, obviously, he has that line about, hey, if I saw myself wearing that outfit, I'd kick my own ass. So I guess the thing is, he doesn't hate golf, the sport, but he does kind of hate the culture of golf. And I guess you could make an argument that there is some kind of character progression there, in that he obviously goes from hating golf because of the culture to kind of then transforming golf into his own culture. His own culture around golf, and then obviously eventually he reels it in a bit and stops swearing and throwing his clubs everywhere. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'd say that's something that's there, and it does constitute character development.
Yes, he does have an indifference to golf.
Yeah,
I will. Yeah, so and he doesn't have the character for golf. Obviously, he's very much a hockey guy, as we'll get onto later. But yeah, I just wish there was some reason for him not to. He just kind of gets into it, and maybe he tried out golf when he was younger and hated it, and and he's like, oh damn it, I can't believe I've got to get into fucking golf to save my grandma's house. But anyway, so he finds Carl Lewis, and obviously he enters him into the tour the next day. But this is what was surprising to me. There wasn't like a day of practice beforehand. It seems like that would happen with Carl Lewis trying to coach, Happy after hearing he has never played before. That's the thing. When they walk into the first hole, Carl Lewis keeps on talking about it. It's like, remember what we said yesterday. You gotta, don't. I don't know what advice he was giving him before he said just tap it in. But yeah, he was giving him a load of advice, and I'm like, couldn't we have seen that? Just one scene. The movie isn't that long. It just feels like you're just missing a scene there, with Happy getting to know golf for the first time. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the only thing I will say is that, and we'll get into I think a bit later, but Happy does have a significant advantage, and obviously in that he can drive really, really far, and obviously therefore it makes sense for the film to give him some considerable disadvantages, and perhaps the fact that maybe there was very little time to practice could be a disadvantage. But then having said that, doesn't really work as an excuse because, well, obviously they must have had at least some time to practice because, as you said, he does refer
I'm just
to
saying
telling
we
him something.
could have seen the scene.
Yeah. So, and maybe they could have had a scene that kind of gets across that he doesn't have much time to practice, and it could be in that way it could be a short scene. They could be like, okay, we don't have much time to practice, and then I don't know, maybe he could give us some advice.
Well, you already know that by the fact that he says the tournament's tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
that's already implied, really, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, maybe he didn't get any practice. Maybe he said that stuff to him in the car. Maybe what they should have had is a scene of them pulling up in the car, and he should have been like, and that's everything I have to tell you about golf. And then that way, when he later on says, remember what I told you earlier? We can go, oh, that must have been what he said in the car. Huh? That's filmmaking.
It just would have been better if they actually showed it, an actual scene. But anyways, Happy wins the local tournament, and so he gets to be on the golf tour. He follows Carl Lewis's advice just to tap it in. Just gotta tap it in. I don't know about you, Michael, but I think that's great advice.
Yeah, I like it.
This is the thing, when you play golf, you don't realize. Of course, if you play a lot, you'll realize. But you don't play a lot, you don't realize how fast those greens are. They are so fast, man. They are so fast. So you don't. It's not about power. You just gotta tap it in. Just great advice, really. Great advice all around. So he taps it in, and then he goes to Portland to start the tour next week with Schuster McGavin, because he won the competition. I don't know if this is realistic. I don't know how golf works in America in that regard, or in any country. Whether it's realistic that Happy Gilmore would win a prize and get to be on this professional tour after a day's competition. I don't know, but apparently that's the case. So on the tour, he finds out that he needs to change his behavior. And he does that. But I guess this comes into the absurdity aspect. He really takes it far, and it's funny to watch. But I just look at that and I'm like, he just get kicked off immediately. He just get absolutely thrown out just on the first day.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, and of course it's funny, but we do like to be realistic as well, Michael. I don't want to be too harsh, but I feel like that has to be mentioned. And then he brings in a more economically diverse range of people to the golf course.
Yes.
Yes, I think that would have to happen for him to be popular, because again, normal golf fans, I don't know if you've met them, but or know a lot about them. I assume you do. But they would not like what Happy Gilmore is doing. They'd be very much against him.
As you already said yourself, even playing golf is pretty boring. So imagine watching somebody play golf.
Oh my god.
That's that's just. How do those people even exist?
Yeah, obviously there are. He talks about wanting to get younger golf fans involved in the game, and funnily enough, literally a couple of years later, there was a kid by the name of Tiger Woods that hit the scene. He was exactly that. He was what golf really needed.
Always swearing.
Well, yeah, with his swearing and his weird driving style as well. Tiger just got a whole new generation of golf fans interested in the sport. And so I can imagine around that time there was, it wouldn't be untrue to say, oh yeah, we need someone like Happy Gilmore to get people interested into the sport of golf. If you made this movie in 2001, that wouldn't make any sense. But it would, I guess, in early 1996. But yeah, so that's I guess all I've got to say on that. But yeah, anything else before we get into the Shooter McGavin, Michael?
No, I really want to talk about Shooter McGavin because I think he's just the best.
Oh, really? What do you like about him?
I just think he's such a classic villain. And I guess it's kind of, I mean, it's pretty archetypal. Obviously, a character who relates to the common man, then meets this stuffy Gaston type. But I just think I guess I say he's perfect. I'd say he's not really perfect because he's just kind of, like I say, archetypal. But I just enjoy that kind of villain, you know. He's just always playing pranks. He's you know, like I say, the rich, stuck-up guy. And you just really want to see him get, what's the word I'm looking for? Get a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, get his comeuppance, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about that more at the end, but yeah, he's a great character, he really is. And like you say, he's a stereotype. Or as you said, an archetype. You know, when we like, you know, characters, they're archetypes. When we don't like them, they're stereotypes. Is that correct? Is that how it goes?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Shooter McGavin. Like I said before, he buys Happy Gilmore's house because, you know, he doesn't like him because, you know, he's getting all the attention. He's ruining the game of golf. And that's the thing. I think a lot more people would subscribe to what Shooter McGavin was saying. But anyway, so he's ruining the game of golf, and he buys Happy Gilmore's house, and it's like, hey, if you want it back, then you're gonna have to quit. And Gilmore, of course, initially accepts, but then his girlfriend. Do you remember the name of his girlfriend, Michael? The publicist.
No, I mean I'm notoriously bad with names, so no, not at all.
It's the name of a state.
Virginia.
Yes, Virginia.
Hey.
Well done. Yes. Virginia, of course, talks him out of it, tells him that his grandmother would rather see Gilmore be successful than have her house back. And, you know, I don't know, I feel like it would be better if maybe his grandma said that instead of her, because it's like, oh yeah, you want your boyfriend to perhaps win this tournament instead of just quitting, I see how it is. But anyway, Gilmore then, of course, strikes a deal with Shooter McGavin and says, you know, if I win, Shooter will return the house, but if Shooter wins, Gilmore will quit. And I mean, is that better? Is that a better deal for Shooter McGavin? I don't know. It feels like he's like, why risk it?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Also, actually, just as an aside, did they even establish that that Happy Gilmore would buy the house off him? Because otherwise, Shooter McGavin's would have literally bought him a house, and basically, it really ends up quite well for Happy Gilmore.
I assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume so. So he would have lost. Well, that's the thing. He would have lost. He bought it for like $350, so he would have lost $75,000 as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they, you know, maybe after Happy Gilmore won, he agreed to. As I think, Shooter McGavin, you know, he holds up his end of the deal. He didn't have to give the house back to Happy Gilmore, but he does it.
I was kind of thinking that. It is one of those things where, in reality, you'd be like, I don't know, can you really trust a gentleman's agreement like that? But obviously within the film universe, you're just like, yeah, I'm willing to accept that if he wins, Shooter McGavin will hold up his bargain. So I guess Shooter McGavin has to be honourable in that regard, whenever there's a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, maybe Adam Sandler, with the winnings he no doubt got, you know, agreed to pay him the $75,000 back. Or he didn't, I don't know. But there's a scene at the end where you have like the tall guy just with his arm around like Shooter McGavin's neck as they pull up to the house, and Shooter McGavin flips Happy Gilmore the keys, you know, just to hammer. Yeah, because I was thinking that it's like he doesn't have to give him the house back. He really doesn't, but he does anyway, does he? But yeah, the ending, of course. Chubbs dies, Michael. What a sad death.
I know.
I see. There's the thing. It's like it's not that clever a joke.
Yeah,
it's just the absurdity. Like he sees the alligator head and he just falls out the window.
I think the other funny thing about it, because when I watched, I saw this film, you know, back in the day. So when I was rewatching it, I was actually surprised at how little Chubbs has to do in the middle of the film. I was kind of thinking,
he's not there, is he?
Yeah, and it was funny because I was like, oh yeah, Chubbs, he's classic. You know, he's a guy who's around for ages and then he dies, and it's, you know. I mean, I'm not going to say impactful because obviously it's pretty stupid, but at least it's impactful as far as within the universe of the film. But to be honest, it's actually surprising. I was like, hold on a minute. Are we not going to see Chubbs do anything until he dies? And then obviously there is the scene where he teaches him, you know, putting, but it is surprising that he doesn't get, you know, that he is just sidelined for so long and then just dies.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's one of those characters where you think, oh, he's in it quite a bit, but he's really not in it that much, is he?
He's like Boba Fett.
Yeah, I guess so. But the Boba Fett of Happy Gilmore, Carl Lewis. You know what, Carl Lewis, have you seen Arrested Development?
No, you always mention it to me. I should probably watch it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably mentioned it to you 2 years ago, so you're probably not going to ever do it. But
I will watch it at some point.
yeah, whatever. You'll miss out because you'll never watch it, and it'll always be a hole in your heart because of that. And
It
Carl
will
Lewis,
arrest my development.
yeah, it will. That's the meta thing about it. But Carl Lewis plays a character in Arrested Development, and yeah, he's like this big muscly guy. He's of course in Predator, those kind of action movies.
Yeah.
But he's got great like comic timing, and he's just really funny. So yeah, he's a talented guy. And so getting back to the actual plot, Shooter McGavin, Happy Gilmore, they're paired together because of course they are. And they are going to the last hole tied because, of course, they are. That's the thing. Like things you'd normally pick out, like nitpick or say, "Oh, this is ridiculous. This is cliche in other movies." Because the movie is so absurd. It's like, yeah, just go with it. Of course, they're paired together. Of course, of course, they're tied going into the last hole.
I think that's quite common with sports comedies because it's like with sports, things that if they were in a sports drama, you'd go, they'd come across as cliche. In sports comedies, they're just like part of the background noise, I guess.
Yeah, but it matters what like type of comedy it is. It is absurdist, then like this is then it is what it is. So on the final hole, of course, Michael, the final challenge for Happy Gilmore, he has to play it past this fallen TV tower, and once again, I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer, as it were, but there's no way that would stand. Like again, it's an absurd movie, but they would move that tower right away. It's like what's that scene from Air Bud? Like there's no rule in the rule book that says a dog can't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. But it's even worse because I'm pretty sure there is a rule about like if something blocks the course, like you can move it, like a TV tower. That's not part of the golf course. You can move that out of the way. And that's the thing. His girlfriend says, "Oh, you can play this hole tomorrow," and Happy Gilmore. That implies like they haven't got enough time to move the tower, and I'm like, it'll take like 5 minutes to move it. Like I'm sure you can move it out of the way for him to get his final shot in. So yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. But I have to be a Debbie Downer in these situations, Michael, because.
I just raised a nitpick. Like I kind of thought about it. I didn't really put it down as a nitpick, but the fact that there's a tube that happens to be pointing exactly towards the hole, so that he just has to get it into the tube, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's the overall absurdity of it, though. That's the whole thing. It's like, the nitpick is, he hits it off several. What an impossible shot he manages to pull off.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, with the. So yeah. I guess you're right. It's just I was always thinking about that. Like, he just needs to. So I guess if anything, maybe everyone was in on it and they realised there was a tube pointing right towards the thing. And they're like, there we go. That's why we shouldn't move it, because all he needs to do is get it in that tube.
It is what it is. But I will say it is a nice way to end it instead of just a simple putt to win. Like he has to play it, do a crazy golf shot, which he of course did with
and reincorporation.
Yeah, reincorporation. So you love to see it, and it's. I think it's a nice ending, and so. There you have it. And like I said, credit to Shooter McGavin for keeping up his end of the bargain, which he didn't have to, even after he steals the jacket. So you wouldn't think he would, but he does it. Which is why, again, I think if the tall guy, I mean, we'll talk about the tall guy later when it comes to comedy, but it's just it's ridiculous. But anyway, so got anything else to say on the ending?
No, I think overall, just I think this film, it's kind of efficient in a good way. Like the plot progression works quite well, and obviously you pointed out there's loads of conveniences and things like that, and coincidences. But I do think it's fun how just with the film, I would almost say it's a masterclass in getting from one story beat to another in a way that doesn't really come across as overly expository and just kind of comes across like, you're willing to accept it within the universe of the film. And I think the ending's certainly an example of that, where there's things where, like you say, obviously the fact that it's the final shot and it's the most important shot that can determine everything. And, obviously you have the thing falling down, that makes no sense. But then there's the other aspects of there's reincorporation and things like that, which is the kind of stuff you see in, very, very well made films, or, films that at least have some narrative heart to them, some narrative cognizance to them. And that's kind of how I feel about the whole film. And I feel that way about the end too. It just, everything kind of works. The characters work, and how we got there worked.
It's a simple movie, really. Of course, it's quite short, but it's simple and it works. You're right, and it doesn't get bogged down in anything. Of course, like why would it? But what happens to the Ben Stiller character? Is it the evil guy?
You're right, actually.
I was just thinking, it's like all the loose ends are tied up. What the fuck happens to Ben Stiller?
Yeah, it's so weird that like that they don't just have some kind of scene of him getting in trouble, like getting his comeuppance. Yeah, I never really thought about that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I guess the film's terrible.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, it's like, shit, yeah. What happened with Ben Stiller? Man, we need a sequel.
Yeah, that would be
needs to be taken care of.
Dodgeball.
Yeah, I mean that's a different sport, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on then, I guess, to talking about the characters now. And I think this movie with Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler has created like the epitome of the likable character that everyone is rooting for. He's a good guy. He's got a big heart. A little bit rough around the edges, but he's a working class hero who's just trying to make enough money in the sport to pay for his grandma's house, since of course his granddad built it with his own hands. And he's going up against this classist, slimy Shooter McGavin, who's playing all these tricks and, is incredibly untrustworthy and unlikable. Adam Sandler, he knows how to set up a protagonist to root for him, doesn't he? Like, he knows how to get it done.
There was an example of that, actually, which I was pleasantly surprised by. It was when the homeless guy appears, and the first thing he does is he like wipes the windshield, obviously, and then he gets kicked off, and Happy Gilmore's like, "Oh, I just want to make some money, leave him alone." And I was thinking, oh, isn't it nice that they kind of included that scene of that homeless guy just to establish him as nice, and then obviously you get the extra thing of he picks him as his caddy so that he can obviously get money, and you're like, oh, that's like, so it's kind of, they get that extra level from it, and I do agree, and for me that was the moment that stood out as like, they're really. It's a small scene that does work to establish him as just a nice guy that, like you say, you want to root for. And it's also funny because in so many of Sandler's other films, he obviously plays a very well-off person. And this is, of all the films I've seen him in, I think this is the only film where he doesn't play somebody who's ridiculously rich.
He doesn't. Of all the films you've seen, of course,
yes, exactly.
He doesn't do it in Waterboy.
I kind of thought that might be the case, which is why I was sure to specify.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, he's just a normal working guy, he's done a lot of jobs, as you can see from the montage at the start, and he's nice. Like, there's this thing when he's talking to the golfers, like, who obviously are very different. He always starts off like saying nice stuff to them, like, "Hey, how are you?" Like, "Oh, good luck out there." Like, he's just he's just a nice guy. But when somebody pisses him off, that's when he turns like maniacal, I guess. And yeah, that's a crucial element, because yeah, you just want to root for the guy. I don't know, like, I read a review that said you don't like Adam Sandler's characters, it's not as likable as he thinks, but I'm like, no, it feels like the complete opposite. Like, he is one of the most likable characters you could ever see. I don't know, but yeah, and of course at the end, he gets the house, he gets his girl, and he beats Shooter McGavin. Everything's wrapped up. Like the perfect guy to root for.
Very cathartic.
Really, yeah. It's obviously, we talked about Caddyshack and the fact that was the start of, I guess, movies in the 1980s going forward, who have the little guy going up against all the rich people, and that was the case with the caddy. I can't remember his name. Whoever he was, the caddy from Caddyshack, that like this 18-year-old kid who's just trying to get a scholarship to go to college. And of course, we talked about as well, how the movie actually then becomes something different. It's just the rich guys going against each other, and that the kid gets sidelined. But in the actual genesis of it, of course, is that like the normal guy going up against the wealthy, rich golfers. And of course, this is what happens in this movie as well. Like, it's the perfect encapsulation of what Caddyshack started. And of course, they're both golf movies. So I don't know. I like that.
Yeah, that is an interesting parallel. And I guess it shows that the real comedy classic was not Caddyshack, where they betrayed their working class message by just having Chevy Chase, get involved in trying to bang chicks and make bucks.
Yeah. There's not that Chevy Chase in there who's already incredibly wealthy, who ends up winning, and Rodney Dangerfield either, like, who's again incredibly wealthy and ends up winning and says, "Hey, we're all going to get laid." Like, no, he doesn't need to win. He's already won. Let Happy Gilmore win. And this movie has a message, or I guess a drama, that Caddyshack should have. And yeah, again, both golf movies. It's quite interesting in that respect. So. Yeah, anything else to say on the characters, Michael? Let's go through them, like Shooter McGavin and so on.
No, yeah, I've got them actually. No, yeah, that's fine. That's everything I wanted to say. Just
Oh, right,
that he's
okay.
really nice. And obviously we covered the fact he's angry. I think it's kind of weird because anger is a very sympathetic emotion for somebody to have, I guess, because anger is a nondescript thing, especially obviously when it's humorous is fine. So I guess they gave him, because that's the thing, he's not nice in like an he's not nice in a way where he comes across as unrealistically nice, because obviously he's a bit of a hothead, which is so
He's just a normal guy.
Exactly,
He's just a
yeah.
normal guy. Yeah.
He's like Homer Simpson, but
Yeah.
possibly nicer.
Yeah, just like, hey, good luck out there. Hey, hey, the homeless guy is just trying to make a living, etc. And so we'll get on to now, I guess, the sporting dynamic of this movie, Michael. So this can't be ignored. So this is what I was kind of disappointed with, and it links into the fact that Adam Sandler is kind of just indifferent to golf in this movie. I think more needs to be made of the difference between hockey and golf, and how different a sport it is. Because obviously, you're hitting stuff with the puck and you're hitting stuff with a club. But hockey, it's maybe not the opposite of golf in that it is played by wealthy white people mostly. Both sports have that demographic. But in terms of the way the game is viewed, it is absolutely like golf is about class and dignity, and hockey is a sport where, you take no prisoners and you have to be very aggressive. They're very different in how they are played and how they are viewed, and you kind of get that. Obviously, Sandler not fitting in with golf in various occasions, like his fans aren't typical golf fans and all that, but it isn't taken to the full extent or its full potential. At one point he says, I'm not a golfer, I'm a hockey player, but I don't know. There's never a scene where he's depressed because he feels out of place. And yeah, I again, like you, obviously. That's the thing. There's no. If this movie was pitched to me, this is why when I first heard about this movie, I was like, really, that seems a bit random. Like, it just seems a bit random. Like, okay, he's an ice hockey player and then becomes a golf player. Like, of course, they're two sports where you hit stuff with a club or a hockey stick. But like, is that all? It's like you need to accentuate the difference between hockey and golf more. I don't know. Do you think I'm being too harsh, Michael?
I don't know that I really wanted that. So I'm not saying it would have made the film worse, but I don't know if I think that it's not really something I was thinking about. And I'd say, I mean, obviously, I'm sure in reality, the idea that golf and hockey are similar just doesn't hold water. But I'm not sure. So yeah, I guess you're talking about trying to do something that really plays off the distinction between two sports. I think,
like, oh, he's a hockey player, then he becomes a golf player. The movie should make it clear. It's like, wow, he was playing hockey, he was into hockey, and it's golf. And like the way he acts is, and then, of course, like you could say, well, it is the case that when he is playing hockey or when he's on the golf course, it's clearly like he has that hockey mentality, getting into fights and so on. But it doesn't, it doesn't really drive home as much as it could have.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that by the time you get into the later part of the film, it really doesn't. The fact that he was interested in hockey and his whole life has been centered around hockey is kind of much less relevant to the overall kind of his thing.
Because when he's trying to get his girlfriend, he's like, "Hey, I'm not a golf player, I'm a hockey player." I was like, "Oh yeah, he played hockey. Yeah, that was it."
Yeah, I do think that it does come across as he's insisting a bit. And I mean, I will say it's kind of funny because you almost think that there could have been another reason. I'm kind of thinking about him maybe having, do you know what dyspraxia is? It featured heavily in the opening of the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who, and then was immediately got rid of when it didn't have any kind of narrative purpose. Basically, it's when you kind of just struggle with coordination in general. But it's like, I don't really know what the difference is between being generally uncoordinated and having this as an actual disease. But it means you can't ride a bike, for example. So they maybe could have, because obviously one of the differences between hockey and golf is that golf is a very stationary sport, whereas hockey is a very kind of mobile sport. So they could have kind of added a thing where maybe he really likes hockey, but there is something, it could be like I say, this dyspraxia thing where you don't have any coordination. I mean, obviously, he would have to have some coordination with golf, but you kind of don't have like leg coordination or whatever, which means he just can't do the mobile part of hockey. And that's why they could have done that. And that would have meant that you understood why he had to abandon hockey. And I don't know if that would have been better. That's just the thought of like making it so you can understand simultaneously why
mean,
he likes hockey, but why he can't do hockey.
No, that's not the issue about no, he can't do it. Like, it's not about that. It's like
he doesn't really care that.
It's just making the contrast like seem bigger than it is, because like it's like he goes from hockey to golf. What? That's crazy. And it just, without hammering that home, it just seems a bit random. Like, oh, he goes from hockey to golf. That's a bit weird. It's like,
also, what's with the hockey? He has like his putter is a hockey stick, and I'm like,
yeah.
In fact, actually, I will say this. Okay, you know what? I do have one thing. Obviously, when he first putts, so he has that iconic drive, and I think that's fine. Like, he has the iconic drive, whatever. But when he putts like not how you usually putt. He like grabs the stick right down at the bottom and kind of like pushes it. Yeah, you saw him putt. He doesn't putt normal. And I was thinking, one of the things that I like about this film, this is kind of going to be a compliment sandwich, and I'm going to start off with a thing I actually liked about this film. I think they did a good job at giving him pros and cons in terms of his ability, because obviously he has the incredible drive, but he also can't putt. Like that's kind of the thing. And having that relationship, it means like that you can understand why. Okay, so he gets to the green sooner than everyone else, but then he can't putt.
And it's all about working on his short game. Yeah, actually, you know what? We compliment the movie for that, because that is good.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Maybe it's obvious though. Maybe it's like naturally obvious. Like, oh, he'd be good at driving, but then can't do the accurate stuff.
Yeah, it was a very
it works basically.
Yeah, very believable kind of like he wasn't a Mary Sue, you know. But the thing is, obviously,
he wasn't a woman.
Yeah, I know. But and part of that is I really liked the scene of him learning to putt through Crazy Golf, because obviously his big thing is that he can't putt. So he does something kind of silly, like playing Crazy Golf, but he learns to putt. Here's the thing where I think they could have done something and maybe incorporated him kind of, abandoning hockey, kind of showing how he needs to move away from the hockey mindset, that he actually learns to putt properly, because he putts so awkwardly, and you think, maybe that what could represent him becoming a proper golfer would be that he actually putts like a normal golfer rather than the way he continues to putt. So yeah, that's something where I think it would have been, because like I said, the weakness he has in putting, it does mean towards the end when he's able to putt in the final thing quite competently, you are sat there thinking, well, he's putting as well as Shooter McGavin seemingly, and he can drive a million times further, so how is he not just leaving Shooter McGavin in the dust? But I will say, yeah, in terms of kind of bringing together his difficulty putting, and also, like you say, the fact that the film doesn't really exploit the dichotomy between golf and hockey. It could have been like the weird putting represents his tendency to still be a bit hockey-ish, and maybe the fact that he hits it too hard and things like that. And it could be like you need to abandon the hockey style of play where you're kind of hitting it real hard and things like that, and you need to learn to become a golf putter, and that could be represented physically through him doing a proper putt. That's like just a thought, and that's because I was thinking, just when he does that awkward putt, I was thinking it's weird that he's learned how to putt now, and yet he's still doing it like a weirdo.
Yeah, I think that's just to get the hockey club is like,
is that legal?
Yeah, I mean, have you not seen all the weird putters that people have come up with?
No.
In golf, like there's some really weird putters, that I think Adam Scott is a golfer who like has this putter that like goes all the way up to his chest, and like he doesn't swing it. He grabs it like high up and like, it's like you're sweeping a broom. Really, that's how.
I just googled it and I can see it. Yeah, that is funny actually.
Yeah, there you go. So that's So I guess putting is weird, man. Maybe his technique would work. Has anybody ever tried his technique? I don't know. But that's the thing. Like the skills he gets from learning how to play golf. Maybe if he went back and played ice hockey, he'd just be a lot better. Because he's learned how to be calmer.
Actually, you know what they could do? They could do a scene. And this could kind of help to show his transition away from ice hockey. Maybe they could have a scene where at the end, maybe he plays ice hockey and he decides he doesn't like it and that he wants to play golf. He could like actually have a scene where he does play ice hockey and maybe he's good at it. But then he's like, actually, you know what? I don't want to play ice hockey. I want to play golf. And then that would have been. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that would be. It would show that he's come to embrace golf and abandon the plebeian sport of ice hockey.
I mean, that's the thing. There's not really an endpoint. Like, is he going to continue playing golf? You'd assume so. Like after the movie ends, like Happy Gilmore in the future, he's just playing golf. But instead of ice hockey. So I don't think like he could never abandon ice hockey. Like he still wears the fucking Bruins hat. everywhere. So anyway, we'll get into, I guess, the humour now, Michael, because of course this movie is a comedy. So again, I think I've talked about this quite a lot, just discussing the plot. Like the natural absurdity of it all is great, and I do like it. I love when he's just slamming violently the club everywhere. And like he's I don't know why, I just had a smile on my face. It's like in the background you could see him just like swearing and like hammering the club on the ground and like on the TV, and then
when they're talking and you just hear like a constant bleep bleep bleep.
That's you love to see it. It's just naturally funny. Like I said, you got a smile on your face. Like think of all the random stuff, like the big tall guy who he gets shot in the head with a nail gun, and then he comes back to support Happy Gilmore for some reason. Don't know.
I find it weird that he just immediately just is supporting him right away.
Yeah, but it's great. It's like, hey, that jacket belongs to Mr. Gilmore. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, but I love it. And the dwarf in his dreams. Abraham Lincoln. I
didn't understand that. That was so weird.
Abraham Lincoln and the alligator with Carl Lewis at the end.
The random Asian woman he sleeps with.
That's not really absurd. It's more like he's actually not talking to his girlfriend. He's talking to an old woman.
Yeah. It's not absurd. It's just kind of. But I guess you could say it's absurd that she appears and she's like, you don't want breakfast.
Yeah, but that's the joke. He actually slept with her. It's not absurd.
You're right.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I think about it. It's naturally just naturally funny, and it's kind of comedy I like. What do you think?
Yeah. I guess so. I think I've made this distinction before. I'd say it's. I guess it's fun. The thing is, sometimes I make a distinction between fun and funny. I'd say this is on the funny end of fun. Like it's not an instance where I didn't laugh that much. But I enjoyed it. Like it's kind of a comedy. It's a kind of comedy where I enjoy it. In a way where I don't laugh. I'm enjoying how funny this is. So I'm not like, I don't think there was any laugh out loud moments. There might have been. I do remember when I was a kid finding the scene of when Shooter McGavin appears and just starts making out of his grandma. Really funny because that's just like ridiculous. But yeah, I think overall, and I think I would probably laugh at this film as if I was with like a group of people. But yeah, watching on my own, I was kind of just quietly enjoying how funny it was. But that's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's a very good thing. And like I say, the film does a lot else apart from the funniness. So
I think Brian Lowry of Variety has a take on it. He said that the general tone makes it difficult to elevate the gags beyond an occasional chuckle. And I'd say, maybe that's the case. Like maybe the tone means when something funny happens, it's not like laugh out loud funny because you're already expecting crazy stuff to happen. So how can you laugh so much when the tone is everything is hilarious, nothing, everything's stupid. That's the point he's making, I think. And I don't think that's a bad point necessarily. Lowry noted that he found a few scenes inspired, including the fight scene with Bob Barker, and when Happy attempts to find his happy place. So his happy place, of course, we talked about that. It's just random and it's great and all, but the fight scene with Bob Barker, Michael. What do you think of that? The fight scene with Bob Barker. Did you like it?
I enjoyed it. I think ultimately just watching this old man. I like when he says, I can't remember what he says. He's like, "Now you've had enough, bitch." It's good. I think overall, that falls I think into the category of kind of absurdist too. And it's just like this old man beating up Happy Gilmore.
Of course, it's absurdist.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think it was funny.
By the way, the scene with Barker beating up Gilmore increased ratings for The Price is Right among younger demographics. Barker claimed that someone in the audience asked him about Happy Gilmore almost every day. The show's producers had previously tried but failed to appeal to a younger demographic. Him appearing in the Happy Gilmore one. In this Happy Gilmore movie did it for them. And also, I like this, the MTV Movie Awards from 1996, the best fight was Adam Sandler and Bob Barker. They won that. So props to them too. They won that. One of Adam Sandler's most prestigious honours in his acting career.
Wow.
But again, it's just absurd, and even though it's just two people punching each other, it's fun. I will say this is a criticism on the comedy. And I think certainly earlier on, when you don't get into the swing of the plot, when they're just kind of just doing jokes for joke's sake, I think this is more apparent. But it did seem like a lot of the jokes were like kind of there, but like almost there, but not quite there. Like, I do like the style of comedy. You know, it's fast moving and absurd, but it all seems like, hey, what if we came up with this idea and it's just like the bare bones of this idea, and then that is all we need to do. We don't need to think about the joke any further than what it is. I think about it's like quite far down along in the movie when when Happy Gilmore gets hit by the car. I mean, it's very random and it's kind of, you know, it's funny. Like, it's like he just gets hit with the car like on a golf course. But I don't know. I feel like you could do more with that. Like you could do more with that. I had an idea of like I don't know, the commentators saying like something about, wow, what a remarkable scene. I've only seen that twice before on a golf course.
Like kind of just an extra thing.
Just alluding, just a bit extra, just alluding to that. And I don't know if it would worked, because that seems like more comedy from like Caddyshack, that kind of thing. Just compare. I mean, we're gonna have to compare it with Caddyshack later, but yeah, that kind of seems more that style of comedy. But yeah, it just seems like there was some. I don't know. It seems like this is the case with a lot of Sandler movies. Like there's a joke in there and it's funny, but it's like if you put a bit more effort in and thought about it a bit more, you can make it even more funny. That's what I feel. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the jokes do come across as a bit half-baked, and I do think it is one of those things where you come up with the premise for a joke and you're like, oh yeah, I mean, you pretty much covered it. Like, you're saying you can do a particular thing, and yet there is that aspect of doing something with it. And also I do think there is an aspect of you know, jokes tend to be better when they're woven together a bit more, which I think you can make an argument it doesn't happen as much as it could in this film. And obviously I think consequences, of course, are what makes a joke good. And for example, something like him getting hit by a car, it's like, well, there's no real impact of that. So I do think there is that kind of thing.
Another point in the movie, actually, when he hits someone with a car, when that old lady.
Oh yeah.
Right at the start, yeah, and he's like, he just put some food on the windshield and like, take this, and like, it's still, again, it's like, it feels like, I don't know, you could have done more. And then when he drops the air conditioner later on in the movie, obviously it hits that lady. But I was thinking, because of course Ben Stiller,
she could run him over.
Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have worked as well. But what I was thinking was Ben Stiller is, of course, just before he sees his grandma, you know, they're knitting and doing quilting at the old folks' home, and he takes this lady out to do landscaping. It's like, that's what he says. It's like, oh yeah, you're doing landscaping now. And when the air conditioning falls out the window, I was thinking, oh, it's going to fall on that lady who's, you know, doing landscaping, you know, outside. You know, did you think that way? Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's definitely going to happen. And it wasn't. It was that lady from before, which I didn't think was as funny. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like, you know, again, it's like, I can see Adam Sandler. He's got some talent. Of course, he's got some talent, and it's like, it's there. Like, I can feel it. You know, he's naturally kind of funny, but it's just like, just a bit more. If these jokes were a bit more refined, you know, if they were thought about a bit more, they could be good. He needs a partner. You know how there's a lot of comedic duos out there. Yeah, he needs someone to just refine the jokes a bit more.
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, him. Who's him?
Oh, do you not know Norm Macdonald? I probably
do.
I don't know. He's actually in Billy Madison, but he's like a friend with Adam Sandler, even though he's not actually been in that much stuff, because he's a stand-up comic. Because that's like his main gig still. He doesn't really. But I think he cameos in a lot of Sandler's stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah. I know him. Yeah, Norm Macdonald. He's Canadian, by the way. Oh. Did you know that? Bet you didn't. Now I do, because I've searched on Google.
A surprising number of people are Canadian.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to compare this movie to Caddyshack, which is, of course, naturally what we have to do. Obi Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly gave the film a D+, calling it a one-joke Caddyshack for the blitzed and jaded, although he does praise Sandler's confident performance, so that's good. So is it better than Caddyshack? That is the question. And, let's just talk about comedy, I guess, you know. Is it funnier than Caddyshack? I don't know. Caddyshack's got cleverer jokes. It seems like it's got better jokes that make you laugh more. But the overall tone I prefer. And Caddyshack just seems a bit messy, like it's firing all over the place.
Yeah, I think with Caddyshack, I was mainly just bored, which is not a great tone to be shooting for. The thing with Caddyshack, ironically, I would make an argument, and this is going to sound controversial, I'd make an argument Caddyshack feels a bit more like Sandler's later films, in the Caddyshack to me felt a bit just like lots of famous, funny comedians coming together and just having fun on a golf course and thinking that in itself would make it funny, even without any effort to come
Well, I
up
think
with
there's
a
better
structured
jokes, better jokes in Caddyshack overall. Like I can remember that line that Rodney Dangerfield says. It's like, "Hey, you must have been something before electricity."
plot. Yeah, there was
Like
also,
that made me laugh a lot, and I still remember it to this day.
what was that really good line by Chevy Chase? I really can't remember what it was. It was like a very cynical line. I can't remember. Oh, I'm really annoyed.
What context was it in?
It was. I think it was just after somebody swung, did a golf swing, and he said like, "Oh, that's."
I
I
don't know if I can remember. I mean, he was with that guy from Ghostbusters. See, I can't remember. I forgot what's the name.
Harold. Oh, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Yeah, I was like, the thing is, what the name I had in my head was Billy Madison because of Bill. I was like, I know it's not Billy Madison, but yeah, Bill Murray, and it starts with M as well. So there you go. Bill Murray when he's in that. Maybe it's that scene when they're together, Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just remember like the jokes seem. The writing seems clever. Like right at the start of the movie when Chevy Chase is talking to it's called Danny, I think, the caddy, and it's like they're talking about how one's wealthy and one's poor, and it's like clever, funny writing, and I'm like, that's good. It's probably funny or cleverer than whatever's in this movie, but it's still the overall tone of Caddyshack isn't as good as Happy Gilmore. So yeah, I don't know. So what did you conclude? You said Happy Gilmore's better?
Yeah, I'd say Happy Gilmore's better.
Yeah, I'd probably say that as well. Again, there's better moments in Caddyshack, but overall it doesn't feel as funny. So yeah, there you have it. And yeah, I guess we'll just talk about the legacy. Do you want to hear about the legacy of Happy Gilmore, Michael? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, well, this is in popular culture. Golf.com and Golf Digest discussed the film, predominantly praising the villain, Shooter McGavin. We haven't even talked about when Shooter McGavin says, "I eat shit like you for breakfast." And Sandler turns around and says, "Yeah.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?"
Shit for breakfast?
I referenced that. I referenced that when we first were calling, before we even started recording.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I haven't mentioned it yet.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a great line. And yeah, it's not that funny, but it's just... Yeah, because obviously that is a phrase. And yeah, I don't know. It's not funny. Did you laugh? I don't know. I didn't laugh, but it's just like, that's good. That's a good comeback. Yeah, there's one of those kind of lines. Anyway, the Happy Gilmore swing, featuring a walking or running approach, is often imitated or attempted for fun, including by touring golf professionals. Three-time major champion Podrick Harrington is particularly well known for his impression and even uses the technique in training. The TV series Sports Science has featured Harrington's Happy Gilmore swing, demonstrating how it can indeed generate additional distance, though at the cost of accuracy. Yeah, and that's what happened in ice hockey, didn't it? Like, he hits it really hard, but it goes everywhere, and you would assume that's the same thing that would happen in golf. But yeah, that's interesting. You do generate additional distance, which I can... That's the thing, like, I often think if you
it's
just
based
do
in
a
science.
if you just do a sports movie, and it's not awful, and it therefore becomes a cult movie because there will be people who love the sport who watch the movie. Like, I don't know. Obviously we did Goal. I'm thinking of Goal. We reviewed Goal. Remember Goal? And like that's the thing. It's a movie which didn't make a lot of money, and it's a movie which wasn't critically rated, and like the average person doesn't really know about it that much. But if you talk to football fans, like especially people around our age, and you talk to people who are definitely Newcastle United fans, they will have seen that and they will love that movie just because it features like a sport. And of course, there's Newcastle United, obviously, that it features their club as well. But that's the thing, if you make a sport movie and it's just like not awful, it can become a cult movie just because you're doing a sport, a passion project about somebody, about a person's interest in that sport. People like that, there's more evidence of this. Long drive champion and professional golfer Jamie Sadlowski, also a former hockey player who can hit golf balls over 400 yards, has become the real life version of Happy Gilmore. So yeah, just more evidence. Like if we made a movie, Michael, about archery. You're quite a unique sport, and archery. So I don't know what would happen in it. But,
Arrow.
It's a comedy movie about archery. Yeah, call it Arrow. I don't know.
The Hawkeye solo movie.
Yeah, that's it. But specific. It's and it wasn't shit. I bet the archery community would love that They'd love that. They'd play that movie, and it'd be a cult classic. So if you're ever looking for, if you haven't got a big budget and you're looking to make a kind of successful movie, pick a sport. Golf has been done obviously with Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore. You can't pick that. Then you can pick football, or maybe.
My step second cousin came round, as would naturally happen with your step second cousin, came round to stay, and he made us watch this terrible paintballing biopic because he's really into paintballing, and it was just awful.
Biopic.
But he loved
that's the thing. A comedy though, like make it a comedy. That's
this wasn't a comedy.
You gotta make it a comedy. Actually, to be fair, Goal isn't a comedy either. So yeah, I don't know. Just make a movie. Yeah, but paintballing's too niche though. That's too niche.
Yeah.
Maybe archery is too niche. I don't know. We need. I think for sport, isn't massively popular. That doesn't have movie because American football's got so many movies about it as well. Baseball has too. Maybe tennis. Any tennis movies out there, Michael? I don't know.
That's an interesting thing actually. Yeah, there's the Simpsons episode Tennis the Menace.
There's this movie called Wimbledon. It was based in 2004, starring Kirsten Dunst. But it doesn't have anything to it really. It's just this old guy who's washed up who wins Wimbledon one year. Just that's you need something as well. You need a uniqueness, a quirk about the movie. Like Santiago Munez, he comes from Mexico. He's just.
I found one starring Emma Stone of Cruella fame and Steve Carell called Battle of the Sexes from 2017, and it's the true story of the 1973 tennis match between world number one Billie Jean King and ex-champ and serial hustler Bobby Riggs.
It's no. That's the thing. That's a serious story based on real life. I'm talking about something made up. You got to make it up. That's the key thing. You got to make it up.
Well, I think a lot about how the film Dodgeball is very similar to the film Happy Gilmore, in that you have a cantankerous coach who then ends up dying. So I think that you should just steal that formula. That's
another example. Dodgeball. There you go. That movie. It's fiction, and it takes not the most popular sport, and it transforms it into something quite interesting.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball.
Yeah, and it's successful, and it's a cult movie. So that's the key. That's the formula. So time for conclusions. You go first, Michael.
We didn't actually mention the other things. I will say, as somebody who's seen Billy Madison, that I thought this film was better than Billy Madison. And why shouldn't I think that, Luke? Because let's be clear on this. This film it does have a lot going for it. It's not some work of art or anything. I would stress, but it is. The way it kind of sets up, the plot progression and the way it reincorporates things is very good. Like, it's kind of very effective. And honestly, in a way, it's kind of sad to say this, but I think it's genuinely true that just being an effective film narratively and in terms of the characters, is a considerable feat in today's film industry. And on the subject of characters, of course, the fact this character is so likable, that's a positive. And then on top of that, you got the fact that he has these interesting skills and weaknesses, and flaws and drawbacks. And the way those drawbacks are dealt with is kind of entertaining too. And I've said all of that before even getting into the comedy, which sure is not, laugh out loud hilarious. This isn't Daddy's Home 2, but it is still entertaining and fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And with all those things said, it's good. And I kind of want to... See, I almost want to give this a low 7. But I think, to be honest, it's just... And it gets kind of what you said about how it has these good ideas, but it just doesn't quite make it. It's close, but just no cigar, as the kids are saying. But I'm still going to give it a high 6. I'm going to rate it above, and this is actually a film I've moved since we last reviewed it, so I've actually moved this film up, but I'm putting it above Next of Kin and below Slumdog Millionaire, which
fascinating.
Is a high 6. So
okay, well, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I was thinking 6.5, and I think that's probably too high. It's a decent movie, it's fun, but nothing more than that. And of course, we talked about there's some issues with the plot, like you would imagine, but overall it's quite neatly packaged, and it feels like it could have been better. If just a bit more time and attention was paid to this movie, it could have been better. And that's what's frustrating maybe about quite a bit of Adam Sandler's work. But I think this movie with a lot of people, like, this is one of their favorite movies because it's, you know, a movie from their childhood. You know, it's a funny movie that they loved growing up, and how can you not love Adam Sandler's character in this movie? How can you not love Happy Gilmore? You just love him. You want him to succeed. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. Again, still decent. Still, you know, a lot. I give Caddyshack a 4, so that's quite a bit better. Anyway, Michael, what are we doing next week?
So next week we're doing our first double feature in a while. Quentin Tarantino would be pleased. He loves his double features. And we're going to be doing... We did Toy Story 1 and 2, of course, over a year ago now. And next week we're actually going to be finally getting back to the Oscars and kind of celebrating and looking forward to the Oscars by looking at Toy Story 4, which won Best Animated Feature at last year's Oscars. And just to fill in the gap, we're also going to be looking at Toy Story 3.
Yeah, so, Toy Story 3 and 4 next week. Again, quite a departure from this movie. But yeah, thank you for listening. We've been selecting and reflecting on Happy Gilmore. You can understand why it is a cult classic, but yeah, it's not the greatest thing ever, but you know, still quite funny, still quite decent. Join us next week for Toy Story 3 and 4. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.